Another client is leaving us, my assistant Lisa said as she looked at me with worry. I was sitting at my desk, staring at the email on my screen. That's the fifth one this week, she added. I nodded slowly, my jaw clenched. I didn't even need to open the email to know what it said. Every client who left had the same reason: they were moving their business to Summit Solutions. That was my brother David's company. My name is Alexandra Chin. I'm 35 years old, and I had spent the last 10 years of my life building my own consulting business from scratch. I had given it everything: my time, my energy, my heart, and now, I was watching it fall apart, one client at a time. But it wasn't because I made bad choices or the economy was bad. No, it was because my own brother had been working behind my back to destroy what I built. Have you heard from the Taurus account? I asked Lisa, even though I already knew what she would say. She shook her head. No, but David has a meeting with them this afternoon. Of course he did. Taurus was one of our biggest clients. We had contracts with them worth nearly $2 million a year. And now, David was going after them, just like he had gone after every other important client we had. He used to work with me. We had spent years together growing this company. He had access to all of our client lists, business strategies, and private data. And when he left to start his own company, he didn't just go his own way. He used what he knew to come after my clients, my business. And he was succeeding. My phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen. It was David. Speak of the devil. Hello, David, I said, keeping my voice as calm as I could. Hey, sis, he said, sounding fake and overly friendly. Just wanted to let you know, Taurus signed with us this morning. Thought you should hear it from me. I closed my eyes, gripping my phone tightly. How generous of you. Look, Alex, he continued, this is just business. You know how it goes. The strong survive. The weak, well, they should start looking for new opportunities. I stayed silent for a second, then asked, is that what Mom would say? Is this how she raised us, to stab family in the back? He laughed, a short, sharp, cold laugh. Don't bring Mom into this. She's been gone for 5 years. This isn't about family. This is business. And honestly, Alex, you were never cut out for this. You just didn't see it. I felt my stomach twist, but I didn't show it. I thought about the flash drive sitting in my desk drawer, the one filled with proof. He had no idea I had been collecting evidence. Maybe you're right, I said softly. Maybe I'm not cut out for this after all. Finally admitting it, he said, smug now. Tell you what, I'll buy your client list for 10 cents on the dollar. It's a fair offer, considering most of them are leaving anyway. I looked over at Lisa. She was watching me closely. She knew what was on that flash drive too. She knew what I had planned. David didn't. I'll think about it, I said. Anything else? Yeah, he said casually. Mom's house. I think it's time we sold it. Your company probably can't even afford the taxes on it anymore. My chest burned with anger. That house meant everything to me. It was our childhood home. It was where Mom raised us after Dad died. It was where she taught us about family, honesty, and hard work. But I kept my voice steady. Send me the paperwork. I'll review it. After I ended the call, I opened my drawer and pulled out the flash drive. I plugged it into my laptop. I had spent months gathering everything: emails, spreadsheets, call logs, contracts. Everything David had done to steal my clients was in there. Every shady deal, every broken promise, every law he had quietly broken. And I had something else too, something even bigger. Lisa looked at me. Should I call them? I nodded. Yes, it's time. Set up the meeting for tomorrow. She picked up the phone and called a number we had saved for weeks. Hello, Mr. Torres. This is Lisa from Chin Consulting, MS. Chen would like to schedule that meeting we discussed. Yes, the one about Summit Solutions fraudulent certifications. As she spoke, I sat back and let myself smile, not because I was happy, but because I knew the truth was finally about to come out. David had made a huge mistake. In his rush to take my clients, he had faked his company's security certifications. Those were needed for handling government contracts, and they made up most of the Taurus account. He thought he was destroying my company. He didn't realize he was destroying himself. Meeting confirmed for 9 a.m. Lisa said. Mr. Torres sounded very interested in what we have to show him. I stood up and walked to the window. From my office, I could see the tall building where David's company was located. He was probably in there right now, smiling, thinking he had finally beaten his big sister. Send the files to the FBI too, I told Lisa. They need to see this. I looked at the photo of Mom on my desk, her gentle smile, forever frozen in that frame. I remembered her voice, always calm, always wise. The truth always comes out, Alexandra. Your job is to be ready when it does. I nodded to myself. I'm ready now, Mom. My phone buzzed again, another message from David. Tick-tock, time's running out. I typed back quietly, you're right, time is running out, but not for me. I reached into my desk drawer and pulled out the flash drive. Everything was on it, every email, every fake document, every rule my brother had broken to steal my clients. The FBI already had copies, but now it was time to show Mr. Taurus the truth for himself. His hands clenched tighter around the paper he was holding. His face looked pale. That lying, he told us everything was fine, he said angrily. We have millions tied up in these government contracts. I know, I replied quietly. That's why I asked you to come. You needed to see the truth before it was too late. Just then, my phone buzzed again. It was David calling. I didn't answer. I let it go straight to voicemail. What happens now? Mr. Taurus asked. His voice was tight, like he was trying not to explode. That's really up to you, I said calmly. Chen Consulting still has all the right certifications. We can take over the contracts again and make sure everything runs smoothly. No delays, no risks. He nodded slowly, thinking it through. And Summit Solutions? I looked him in the eye. The FBI will handle that part. I expect they'll be visiting my brother very soon. Right then, as if on cue, Lisa knocked on the door and stepped into the room. Sorry to interrupt, she said, holding a remote, but you're going to want to see this. She turned on the TV in the conference room. The news headline froze me in place. FBI raids local tech company over fraudulent government certifications. The screen showed FBI agents walking into Summit Solutions building. They were carrying boxes of files, and then the camera zoomed in on David, being led out of the building in handcuffs. His face was full of shock and confusion, like he couldn't believe what was happening. My phone started ringing again. This time it was an unknown number. David must have borrowed someone else's phone since I wasn't answering his. Mr. Taurus stared at the TV, then stood up with a hard look in his eyes. I need to make some calls, he said, then we'll talk about moving our contracts back to your company, immediately. After he left, Lisa turned to me. David's been calling non-stop. Want me to keep blocking him? I thought about it for a moment, then shook my head. No, next time he calls, put him through. It didn't take long. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed again. What did you do? David's voice was full of panic. The FBI, they're saying something about fraud. You have to help me, Alex. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. So many times he had tried to ruin me. So many times he had taken from me. Help you? I said quietly. Like you helped me? Is this your idea of family? This is different, he yelled. These are federal charges. I could go to prison. Yes, I said calmly. You could, because actions have consequences. David, Mom always said that, don't you remember? There was silence for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was softer, smaller, like the little brother I used to know. Please, Alex, I messed up. I know I did, but I need my big sister right now. I tightened my grip on the phone, thinking about everything that had led to this moment, every client he stole, every lie he told, every time he tried to tear me down. I'll have my lawyer call you, I said at last. But David, this is the last time. Whatever happens next, we're done. I ended the call before he could say anything else. As I looked out the window, I saw more news vans arriving outside Summit Solutions. The story was blowing up across the city. Lisa appeared in my doorway. Johnson Tech is on line 1, she said. They want to come back to us. I nodded. Put them through. It was time to rebuild everything David had tried to destroy, but this time, I would move forward knowing exactly who I could trust, and who I couldn't. 3 weeks later, I was sitting at my desk, reviewing new contracts. Johnson Tech was back. Mr. Taurus had returned too. Most of our major clients were back with Chen Consulting, their trust, and our reputation, restored. Meanwhile, Summit Solutions was under full federal investigation. Their accounts were frozen, their good name, completely ruined. Lisa knocked on my door. Your brother's lawyer is here, He's asking for a meeting. I checked the time and nodded. Send him in. A few seconds later, Richard Bennett walked in, one of the most well-known criminal defense attorneys in the city. He carried a thick folder and looked very serious. Ms. Chen, he said, sitting down, I'll be honest with you. The evidence against your brother is strong, very strong. He's facing serious charges: fraud, forgery, violations of government contracts. The prosecutors are talking about 15 to 20 years in prison. I kept my face calm. So why are you here? He leaned in. Because you're the key witness. Your testimony, your records, they're the heart of the case. But you're also his sister. We're hoping you might consider not cooperating. Not cooperating? I repeated. You mean lie, keep quiet? Think about your family, he said gently. Think about your mother. Don't. I cut him off sharply. Don't bring my mother into this. David didn't care about family when he tried to ruin me, when he stole my clients, when he wanted to sell our childhood home. He looked uncomfortable. He knows he made mistakes. He's ready to make things right. I stared at him. With what money? The money he stole, the money that doesn't even belong to him? My phone buzzed. A new text message. Please help me, Alex. I'm begging you. Mom would want you to help family. I held the phone up to Bennett. See, even now, he's using our dead mother to avoid punishment. He's still trying to control the story. Ms. Chen. No, I said firmly. I'm going to testify. I'm going to tell the truth, all of it, and I'm going to make sure the world knows exactly what David did. He's your brother. Yes, and that's what makes this so painful. But sometimes, the people who hurt us the most are the ones we love, and sometimes, loving them means letting them face the results of their actions. After the meeting, I drove to our mother's house, the one David wanted to get rid of. The garden was overgrown, but her favorite roses were still blooming. I sat on the porch steps and remembered all the things she taught us growing up. Do what's right, Alex, she used to say, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. My phone buzzed again. A call from an unknown number. I answered. Alex, David's voice was quiet, shaky. They say I should plead guilty. They say I'll only make it worse if I fight. Then plead guilty, I said. Take responsibility. How can you do this to me? I'm your brother. Yes, and I'm your sister, the one you betrayed, the one whose business you tried to destroy. He was quiet. I didn't mean for it to go this far. But it did go this far, and now you have to live with what you've done. I ended the call, then I walked through the garden, running my fingers along the petals of Mom's roses. 6 months later, I sat in court as David pleaded guilty. The judge gave him 12 years in prison, with the chance for parole later. As he was led away, he looked back at me, and for the first time, I saw something real in his eyes, understanding. That evening, I went back to Mom's house, but this time, I wasn't alone. Lisa and a few workers were with me. Are you sure you want to do this? Lisa asked. I nodded. Mom always wanted to help people. This is how we keep her spirit alive. A new sign had just gone up at the front gate. Chen Foundation, supporting ethics in business. We were turning Mom's house into a non-profit that would help small businesses protect themselves from fraud and dishonesty. David's actions had taught me how vulnerable people can be. Now, I wanted to help others stay safe. In my office, I kept the flash drive that started it all. Not as a prize, but as a reminder that doing what's right isn't always easy. It can be painful, but it's still worth it. David writes to me sometimes from prison. His words seem more honest now, less selfish. Maybe he's changing, maybe he isn't. But I know I did what was right, for me, for him, and for the future. Mom always said that true strength isn't about winning at any cost, it's about standing up for what's right, even when it breaks your heart. Looking at her roses blooming again in the garden, I know she'd be proud. Not because I won, but because I did it the right way.